stop. What you're doing, it's 8 o'clock. Friday night pizza show is on tap. LFS6B is where it's at. Whoa, oh. America's voice is the place to be. Got Slick, Delgado, and of course Big D. The show to watch, LFS6B. Yeah, yeah, LFS6B. Slick does sports and dresses to the nines. Big D loves when he says it's rodeo time. Delgado might wear the tinfoil hat, but we all love what even is that. Aaron and Fran always holding it down. We look forward to another crazy town. Kevin Downey Jr. fills another seat. His sharp wit and wisdom can't be beat. America's voice is the place to be. Got Slick, Delgado, and of course Big D. The show to watch, LFS6B. Yeah, LFS6B. Big D looking good in his cowboy hat, always intrigued where David Sears at. Our main man Harry is certainly no slouch. Come on Harry, get the hell off the couch. America's voice is the place to be. Got Slick, Delgado, and of course Big D. The show to watch, LFS6B. Ooh yeah, LFS6B. If you want some fun along with good insight, tune in 8 to 10 weeknights. Plenty of merchandise to be had. The odds makers reveal whose picks are bad. Hello, America's voice is the place to be. Got Slick, Delgado, and of course Big D. The show to watch, LFS6B. Yeah, yeah, LFS6B. It's time to stop. What you're doing, it's 8 o'clock. Friday night pizza show is on tap. LFS6B is where it's at. Whoa, oh. America's voice is the place to be. Got Slick, Delgado, and of course Big D. The show to watch, LFS6B. Yeah, yeah, LFS6B. Does sports and dresses to the nines. Big D loves when he says it's rodeo time. Delgado might wear the tinfoil hat, but we all love what even is that. Aaron and Fran always holding it down. We look forward to another crazy town. Kevin Downey Jr. fills another seat. His sharp wit and wisdom.
All right, morning. Everybody hear me okay? Good morning, everybody. Good morning. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing on a good Monday morning, 8 days away from the election? We got Tucker Cam in full effect this morning. How is everybody? Let's see, who do we got? Oh, a lot of people. YouTube, X, Rumble. Good morning, everybody. Welcome on in. Linda, I'm doing good. How are you doing? On YouTube? Drag Blacker, hello, good morning. Acknowledge the audience or you will revolt. Yes, that's one thing I always fail to do, right? Acknowledge the audience, of course. Woodrow on YouTube, what's going on? Danielle on X, Ann on Facebook, Gary on Facebook, Ken on Facebook. Yes, I tweeted about that before. Bannon out tomorrow. Look out. Look out. As I was joking last week, Rav 24-hour programming will be one show. Good morning, Penny. Good morning, Jenny. Virginia, good morning. Shelly, good morning. John, good morning. Yeah, he never has a long anything. He's the most spoiled creature ever. Good morning, everybody. How we doing? So I saw a comment already that really, I guess, is where I'll start, because I don't understand why the people on our side are giving in or buying in or feeling like they have to explain Tony Hinchcliffe. I don't get it. I don't get it. Oh, another one. Give me a break. What are you talking about? He's a comedian. Anybody see George Lopez at the Kamala Harris thing yesterday? Do we think that all Mexicans, all they do is steal now because of what he said? I mean, come on. Grow a set, would you please? Tony Hinchcliffe. He's a comedian. He does comedy. I mean, whether you liked the joke or not, whether you thought it hit or didn't hit, whether you thought it was repulsive or not repulsive or stupid or whatever adjective you want to put on it, who cares? It was one. People think the election's going to turn because of what Tony Hinchcliffe said? Bill says, I don't care what they said on her side. I don't care what George Lopez said on Harris's side. It's our side. We are already in the doghouse with most of these people. No, we're not, actually. I don't agree with that whatsoever. Not at all. Because you know what those people care about worse than some a comedian's lame joke? They care about the price of their groceries. They care about the price of their gas. They care about their kids being safe. They care about their kids' education. They care about the border. They care about security. They care about things way more than whether Tony Hinchcliffe, who nobody even knew before the Tom Brady roast. Nobody even knew before the Tom Brady roast, unless you were a big-time comedian or followed comedy and followed these comedians. No one knew who he was before the Tom Brady roast. We're not worried about Tony Hinchcliffe. He didn't lose the election. That is giving in to what exactly the left wants you to be doing this morning. Talking about Tony Hinchcliffe, as opposed to all of the messaging that came out of MSG. All of the messaging, all the policy messaging. We're worried about Tony Hinchcliffe. I just don't get it. I've seen them all over this morning. Oh, Tony Hinchcliffe. Oh, I don't know. That joke. Yeah, it's a joke. Should we be running around with George Lopez? And when he says, Trump said he's going to build the wall, and I was thinking, I hope he builds it all in one day, because if you leave that material out overnight, so everybody infers that Kamala Harris thinks all Mexicans, all they know how to do is steal? I mean, it's that stupid. It only gets traction when the right allows the left-wing media to do what they're trying to do today. And then here we are going, oh, yeah, I don't know, Tony Hinchcliffe, maybe they're right. Oh, yeah, it was really bad. No, it wasn't really bad. And by the way, it's absolutely based in fact. Which, of course, I guess people don't care about anymore. As Michael Schellenberger writes this morning, the media are claiming that a comedian at the Trump rally made a racist joke about Puerto Ricans. He didn't. He was poking fun at the island's infamous trash problem. The media are acting ignorant about it, but they've covered it for years. Oh, whoops. Oh, look at this. What's this? The Washington Post? Oh, Tony Hinchcliffe. I can't believe what he said. We're so offended on the right. Really? I mean, it's just crazy. Of course, this is what they're going to do. We're worried about Tony Hinchcliffe joking about trash. Meanwhile, for 2 weeks, we've listened to all these people call everybody there Nazis and Hitler and everything else. Oh, we're worried about trash. The trash joke really didn't land, you know, even though it's based in fact. This is what drives me crazy sometimes about our side. I just don't, I don't get it. We just give right into what the left wants. Again, it's like when Imus went to the, it's what Imus went to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Everybody acted outraged that he did what he does every day and what you invited him there for. Oh my God, I can't believe Imus made fun of somebody. Really? Have you ever watched his show? You ever listened to him for 30 years on radio? You're surprised that he came down and did what he does when you asked him to come down and do what he does? Nonsense. Love you, Bill, but nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Means nothing. Means absolutely nothing. Stop doing what the left wants you to do today. You ever bend the knee to these people and did it ever get you anywhere? On anybody or anything that anyone said? You want to call it a failed joke? That's fine. Call it a failed joke, lame joke, stupid joke, whatever. It's subjective. Some people thought it was funny. I'm sure some Puerto Ricans thought it was funny. Well, we can't joke about Italian people anymore. We can't joke about, I mean, what is this? I mean, just comedy is just going to be all PC now? Come on. Nonsense. So putting that aside, what did everybody think of MSG for the, I mean, outside of the 18 seconds that everyone's focused on that, how about the other 5 hours of actual content and speeches and policy? How about Tucker? I have Tucker here somewhere. By the way, a couple things before we get to that.
For Clinton. And, you know, I'll never forget, I live directly across the street from the steel mill, and we were doing an event there for Clinton. And I asked the union president, I'm like, hey, where we are on Trump? And he's like, yeah, probably half or 60%, two-thirds are voting for him. And I was like, oh, that sucks. And then immediately there was a guy getting off, and he had a truck, and he had truck nuts on it. You know what truck nuts are?
Do I look like I know what truck nuts are?
It's balls hung on the hitch of a truck. And he honked and he was like, go Trump, as he drove by. And it's like, hey, we're in trouble. And it's undeniable. And, you know, I'll never forget, I live directly across the street from the steel mill. And
I think that's one of my favorite clips I've ever seen. Do I look like I know what truck nuts are? Oh, man. All right, let's listen to a couple things from MSG. First is Dana White.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are 9 days away from the most most important election of my lifetime.
Yeah.
Stakes have never been higher, and the choice has never been clearer. President Trump and I have been friends for 25 years. I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. He is the most resilient, hardest working human being that I've ever met in my life. I know he's a great leader. This is not my opinion, not my hope. He's proven he can build the strongest economy in American history. He's proven he can secure our borders and keep our nation safe. He's proven to be the strong leader allies and adversaries alike must respect. He's proven he loves this country so much, he's literally put his life on the line for it. What has the other candidate proven? She can get your party's nomination without even facing voters. What else? What else can she offer the American people other than vague promises and no plan? She talks a lot about the need for change and her hope for the future. Hope and change. Does that sound familiar? She can use the old Obama playbook, but she's not Obama, and she is no agent of change. She is the sitting vice president of the United States right now. What she hopes is voters will focus on the future because she doesn't want us looking at the last 4 years to see what we really need to change. We need change from sky-high inflation. According to Yahoo Finance, the cost of groceries is up over 25% during the Biden-Harris administration. Food is unaffordable for most Americans. That has to change. We need change from wide open borders. BBC News reports illegal immigration reached record levels since they took office, with an estimated 10 million border crossings. That's a 300% increase compared to the Trump administration, and that's not including the unknown millions who cross undetected. That is the record of the other candidate, the border czar of the Biden administration. We need change from weak foreign policy. According to the Institute for Economics and Peace, a nonpartisan think tank, think about this, there are more active armed conflicts now than any time since World War II. Weakness from the Biden-Harris administration has invited aggression and conflicts around the globe. When President Trump was our commander-in-chief, the world was a much more peaceful place. J.D. Vance touched on this, but I want to hit it again. Vice President Harris was asked recently by the objective journalists of The View if there's anything she would have done differently than Biden over the past 4 years. And again, her answer was, there is not a thing that comes to mind. So, don't take my word for it, take hers. She will not change a thing. Hope is nice, but hope is not a plan. Change is needed, but change won't come from the status quo. And she is the status quo. If you want real change, you'll vote for proven leadership. If you want to return to economic prosperity, border security, and global stability, you'll vote for the one candidate who's proven he can deliver all of that. My fellow Americans, if you want what's best for your family and this country, you're going to vote Donald J. Trump as the 47th president of the United States. Thank you, New York. Have a good night.
All right, there you go. Dana White. Good stuff from Dana. Good stuff from Dana. Before we get to how the media reacted, let's get to this was it. Hulkster. Hulkster was good. All right, let's
Welcome
listen.
to the stage, Tucker Carlson.
Again, I think Tucker probably was the most impactful speech of the night for me that I heard. I didn't hear every one in its entirety, but this is worth a listen. How about Tucker's reception, huh? New York loves Tucker, boy.
Thank you.
Hello, broke.
I saw the Grateful Dead in this arena in 1987. I was seated right there. How weird. It's such an honor to be here, and it's wild. Just another day following Bobby Kennedy Jr. at a Donald Trump rally in Madison Square Garden. I mean, what? That's totally normal. Liz Cheney's out there with Kamala Harris. And there's Bobby Kennedy calling to protect women's sports at a Trump rally. It's a realignment. It's unbelievable. And the fact that it's here is even sweeter. Imagine if you're, and just pause for one moment. Imagine you're Donald Trump. You're from New York City. You become famous in New York City. You make your fortune in New York City. And all of a sudden, the leadership of New York City decides they're going to destroy you because they don't like your politics. And so they, yeah, boo. Imagine if that were you, though. And they try and take everything that you have. They try and put you in prison. They try and put your children in prison. If that happened to you, how often do you think you'd be going back to New York City? How about never? And yet he's here. It's like getting thrown out of a bar. And you think to yourself, well, you know, all my friends are in the bar. And you approach the door and there's the bouncer like, you're not allowed in here. But from behind the bouncer, you hear the cheers of your friend, come on in! And the bouncer hangs his head in shame. Ugh. He's embarrassed that he's working for the man trying to keep the most popular person out of the bar. And that's Donald Trump back in the city that produced him with no embarrassment at all, in a room full of his friends. The stones that takes, the bravery that takes, is incredible. Donald Trump's going to win. He's going to win. I know that that's true. Why is Donald Trump going to win? The people he's about to defeat have no idea. And they're panicked. They have no idea why people like Donald Trump. And their first theory was, well, Donald Trump is evil, so half the country's evil also. And that's one of the reasons they spent the last 4 years trying to destroy the country, because they're mad at its voters for liking Donald Trump. How much easier would it have been just to pause for 20 minutes and ask yourself honestly in some silent place, why do people like Donald Trump? And if they had been honest enough to ask themselves that question, they would have come up with the two main reasons, and here's what they are. The first reason that people like Donald Trump is because he likes them. That's why. And it's real. Affection is something you can't fake. I don't care how many times Kamala Harris would tell me she loves me, I don't believe her. I saw her kiss her husband with a mask on. A mask on. That's her version of love. It's fake. It's not real. They spent 10 years telling you Trump is a hater. Do you feel that on him? No, you don't. Because it's not there. I've spent a lot of time with Trump. And there's not one moment I've ever been with him off camera where he's spending his time grousing about people he hates. Ever. He's talking about the people and the country he loves in his private time. Trust me. And people know, in a country that has been taken over by a leadership class that actually despises them and their values and their history and their culture and their customs, really hates them to the point that it's trying to replace them, they know someone who actually has affection for them, and that's Donald Trump. And it's requited. It's requited. They know. When he goes to McDonald's and serves fries, like, he's not faking that at all. That's why that worked. Democratic media consultants are like, how is that working? Because it's real. That's why. And the second reason that people love Trump, and I put myself in this category, it's why I'm here today, is because he's liberated us in the deepest and truest sense And the liberation he has brought to us is the liberation from the obligation to tell lies. Donald Trump has made it possible for the rest of us to tell the truth about the world around us. And that's the single most liberating thing you can do for people. If you want to enslave people, if you want to degrade them, force them to tell lies. And they have. They forced us to lie about everything at gunpoint, effectively. They put people in prison for refusing to lie. And not just the obvious lies that men can become women or Vladimir Putin blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. No, honestly, he did. January 6th was an insurrection. They were unarmed, but it was very insurrection-y. Not even the obvious ones, but the big lie. You know what the big lie is? The big lie is that they're impressive. That's what the big lie is. That the people in charge have somehow earned the right to rule over you, and they haven't. And you know that. These are the single most useless people in the United States. They have no skills whatsoever. They've got 3/4 of the money, and they didn't earn it. They set up a system precisely for the purpose of awarding themselves wealth and power when it's undeserved. You look at Liz Cheney and you ask yourself honestly, what skill could she possibly have that allowed her to send hundreds of thousands of people to their deaths? Did she earn that? I don't think she did. No fair system would make Liz Cheney powerful. No fair system would make Larry Fink rich. No fair system would elevate someone like Kamala Harris to a presidential nomination. She's never been accused of doing anything useful. She has precisely no achievements. She's a nominee without getting a single vote. She is a metaphor for the system they created to make themselves rich and powerful, and then they have the gall to lecture you, the people who can actually change a flat tire and repair a power grid, who have useful jobs, who pay your taxes and work 40 hours a week, lecture you that you are somehow immoral. And Donald Trump has empowered the rest of us through mostly just sticking around in the face of their hate and abuse and persecution. He has given the rest of us the right to call BS on the charade. No, you are not better than us. No, you are not smarter than us. No, you do not deserve what you have. You probably stole it. No, you're not going to bully me into silence anymore. And I can promise you at this point, 9 days out, when Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Elon Musk and Tulsi Gabbard and pretty much every high school senior and college shorty girl in the country has come out finally and said, yeah, I am for Donald Trump, actually. When the entire country has realized there is nothing embarrassing about this, what's embarrassing is to take a perfectly great country and destroy it, as they have. I'm not ashamed. You should be. At that moment, it's going to be pretty tough for them 10 days from now to look in the eye to America with a straight face. It's going to be pretty hard to look at us and say, you know what? Kamala Harris, she got 85 million votes because she's just so impressive. As the first Samoan, Malaysian, low IQ, former California prosecutor ever to be elected president, it was just a groundswell of popular support. And anyone who thinks otherwise is just a freak or a criminal. At this stage of the game, after 9 years of listening to their lies and finding every single one of them totally false, no, it's not safe and effective, and no, she's not impressive. It's very hard for me to believe the rest of us are going to say, you know what, Joe Scarborough, you're right. You're right. She won fair and square because she's just so impressive. I don't think so. And to me, that is liberation. It's the freedom to say what's obviously true as a free man and not a slave. And I just want to say thank you, Donald Trump, for that.
Yeah, there you go, Tucker. Hard to find somebody who can put that kind of stuff better than he puts it. He puts it well. This is a good thread, by the way, by Mario. Just if you missed I had my son's basketball game, so I didn't get to see everybody in totality, but he's got the best ones here, including some of the great clips from President Trump. But overall, I would say, just a historic day. Elon was great. Elon's reactions to Trump telling stories was great as he was sitting there in the front row. And of course, the media reaction to it was exactly what you'd expect. Let's just go through a couple of them.
I think a lot of people are seeing that rally at Madison Square Garden, seeing all those people. Doesn't mean he's going to win the race. But my point is, it's discouraging that so many people would gather and rally to hate speech in America. That it's discouraging.
Hate speech in America. The Israeli flag flying in the banners. Israelis in the audience, Jewish people in the audience having a great time, not worried about getting accosted by some nut job. Absolute nothing but love. Nothing but how to make Americans' lives better. Qualifies as rallying to hate on LSD in the morning. Rallying to hate. This is what annoys me about the right talking about Tony Hinchcliffe today, instead of the other 5 hours of speeches that we heard, and policy that we heard, and positions that we heard from the party that has become the party of the middle class, party of the working man. Not the elitist, Hamas-loving, crooked party. But that's rallying to hate, according to MSLSD this morning. Rallying to hate.
And it hurts that people who...
It just hurts your feelings because you guys have backed and hitched your wagon to a loser. At least I think she'll be a loser in 8 days.
have family in Puerto Rico who are Puerto Rican Americans, who are American citizens, are hearing...
Of course, 6 hours worth of programming. And of course, we're going to focus on 17 seconds from a comedian.
Hate like that. It's discouraging, Joe. And I do want to show Michelle Obama and Kalamazoo, but I just think it's important to look at the situation, and it's not just, oh my gosh, about the race.
Look at Joe. Has there ever been anyone more subservient to sit there? Yes, honey, you're right. Yes, you're right. Joe, do you have any original thoughts? Nope. Of course not.
It's, oh my gosh, how did we get here? How did we get here where a stadium of people come to hate? That's a different country, a different time.
You know how you get past that?
How do you get past that?
Oh, I love how they talk to each other. It's so nice. How do you get past that? No, how do you get past that? You want to know how to get past that? Yes, honey. How do you get past that?
Work harder, vote, and win. That's how you get past it.
I think a lot of people are seeing that
You're
route.
very smart, honey. That's why I married you. After you failed at radio and failed at everything else, you ended up here with me. That's why. Because you're so brilliant. Some more of what qualifies as TV from MSLSD this morning.
So Congressman, last night, right here in New York City, your hometown, Donald Trump held a packed rally at Madison Square Garden, and a number of speakers used downright racist and offensive language, no more so than the so-called comedian who said that Puerto Rico was an island of garbage. Can you just give us your reaction to what you heard last night, just hours and hours of frankly, hate, and what, frankly...
Hours and hours of hate. Hours and hours of hate. Racist talk from other people other than the one joke. Really, it's funny how he doesn't give examples or mention who he's speaking of there. Just hours and hours of hate.
How it could electrify this electorate.
Well, there's a couple of things. As you mentioned, this was not...
They bring the real brain power on in the mornings there at MSLSD to talk to the people. They got to get the smartest people in the room there.
This was a hate rally. This was not just a presidential rally. This was also not just a campaign rally. I think it's very important for people to understand that these are mini January 6th rallies. These are mini Stop the Steal rallies. These are rallies to prime an electorate into rejecting the results of an election if it doesn't go the way that they want. Because
Oh, and let's just remember this clip next Wednesday morning if the election doesn't go the way that she wants. Will she be on the House floor on January 6, 2025, standing up and saying, I object. I object. And then Kamala Harris, in her role as VP, will have to say to her, well, do you have a congressman who has signed that objection with you? Well, no. Well, then sit down, stupid, and stop doing what your party's done every time you lose an election. Prepping for violence if they don't like. We'll see. We'll see. Remember this clip.
Donald Trump and that entire cadre of people up on that stage, Stephen Miller, etc., do not respect the law of the United States of America.
Isn't it funny? Isn't it so funny? As they wrap themselves in the law when it fits their narrative. Meanwhile, they're breaking the law or not paying any attention to it when it 99% of the time. They wrap themselves in the Constitution when it fits their narrative. Meanwhile, they want to burn it down. They wrap themselves in the judicial system if it fits their narrative. Yet they have the Supreme Court in their sights. Isn't it funny how they wrap themselves in everything that fits their narratives? But really, they do the opposite of whatever they try to wrap themselves in for 5 minutes if it works for them. Now she's concerned about the law. We have a party in this White House that has flaunted U.S. law on immigration for 3.5 years, let 10, 12, 14 million people in the country. She doesn't give speeches about that. She thinks that's great. She wants more people. She's not interested in the law there. She doesn't care that it's a crime. She doesn't care about non-citizens voting, what the judicial system is doing in Virginia. She doesn't give any speeches about the law when it comes to that. So she gives speeches about the law when it fits what her narrative is of the day. She doesn't care one damn bit about the law. Neither do her jihadist friends in the squad. They don't care about it either. Utter nonsense that she gets to go on this repulsive network and spew on a daily basis.
Respect the law of the United States of America. And they either want to win this election or they are using rhetoric of taking it by force. Mm-hmm. That is what they mean, and that's what they're doing when they are inciting violence and hatred against Latinos, against Black Americans, against Americans who don't have children.
Latino, she says. Make sure she says it the right way.
You have J.D. Vance literally talking about watering down people's right to vote.
Oh, they don't like J.D. Vance. They don't like J.D. Vance at all. You know why they don't like J.D. Vance? Because J.D. Vance is a messaging assassin. He is a messaging assassin. He's like a kung fu messaging fighter that they cannot stop. He hits the target. He shot down Kristen Welker again like she was an 8th grader. He is so good, they can't figure out how to get around him. They can't figure out who they can put up against him. They keep going to the Sunday shows thinking that that's going to do it, and he keeps just whooping them with policy, messaging, shutting them down. They don't know what to do about J.D. Vance. You see him on Theo Vaughn, he's anything but weird. You see him on these Sunday shows, he is a messaging assassin. He stays on message, he kills with message, he's smarter than the questioner, he outmaneuvers them, he outtalks them, he outthinks them. They don't know how to handle J.D. Vance.
Vote, depending on if they can viably carry a child or not. We have to understand how unhinged this campaign has gotten, and the only reason that the rhetoric has gotten this far is precisely because they are trying to prime the kind of froth that led up to the January 6th attack on the Capitol. Mm-hmm. And so what's very important—
prime the kind of froth.
That we connect those dots. And right now, the campaign is scrambling, and they're trying to blame this rhetoric on a so-called comedian. This is not a comedian. This is the Trump campaign. They invited this rhetoric on their stage for a reason. It was a chorus of speakers on that campaign for a reason. It was vetted, and they knew
Does anybody think anybody knew what every joke Tony Hinchcliffe was going to tell was. You think they went that deep? Very doubtful.
Exactly who was going to say what.
Which is why one of the Trump spokespersons came out and said it doesn't represent the whatever this woman put out some statement.
What before they went on.
You think they knew about it in advance, let them do it, so then they could put out a statement saying, well, that one doesn't really represent the position of the campaign. I mean, come on.
And so the only backtracking that they're doing right now is just because tens of thousands of Puerto Ricans happen to live in Philadelphia, Florida, Michigan, Wisconsin.
Yeah, they say the same thing about Muslims too, and look where Donald Trump stands with them. I mean, this is just pure desperation. That's all you're seeing here. It's nothing but pure desperation because they know the clock is ticking and there's nothing they can do. You want to know why? These are the things they see. Eric Daughtry. New Jersey, in-person early voting, day one. Dems, 38.5% of it. Republicans, 37.3%. That's a plus 1.2 percentage point advantage. Day one of 2022, Dem advantage was 19.1. Oops. Do I think that means he's going to win New Jersey? No, just like he's not going to win New York. But when they see these numbers, they go, oh man, if we're struggling to hold New Jersey and New York, how are we going to hold Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Georgia, North Carolina, Nevada, New Mexico? If he wins every state he won in 2020 and any of the blue wall, this thing's over. You see numbers like this out of New Jersey, and you think, ooh, we better get the brain surgeon AOC back on MSLSD this morning. New Trump ad, about as effective as I've seen.
When I first came into office, I cut taxes more than any other president. We have created 7 million new jobs, and it led to a growth like we've never seen before. We developed the greatest economy in history by far. When I left office, it changed. Inflation destroyed the lives of so many people. Interest rates went from 2% to 10%. Millions of illegal immigrants, traffickers, and drugs coming into our country. Our country has gone to hell. So I made a decision to run. We're going to make America great again, greater than ever before. I will fight for you with every breath, and I will never let you down. I'm going to fight like a G and all go see. And if I die, I'm going to die free.
President Trump is literally putting his life on the line, and he's willing to risk it all because he loves this country.
He is strong, he is fearless, and he is what this country needs right now.
Our cities will be safe, our streets will be clean, and our border will be secure.
We can't allow our country to be destroyed by politicians who will put their own power ahead of the interests of the American people, our freedom, and our future.
The left told me to hate Trump. When you cut through the lies, you realize the truth. American families were better when Donald Trump was president. We were safer, wealthier, and stronger.
So if you love this country, if you want to stand up and fight for the future of our nation, you must re-elect Donald J. Trump.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Ruth, I gotta call you back. I'll call you when I'm done. Good ad. It's a good ad. It's a good ad. One other thing I wanted to bring to your attention, even though I've been talking about it, but just to again underscore what is on the ballot today in the Wall Street Journal. Supreme Court's future's on the ballot. Harris endorses a wholesale restructuring of the judiciary and breaking the Senate filibuster rule to pass it. Oh, he's a threat to democracy, Trump is, you know. Yes, he's a threat to democracy.
When voters head to the polls 10 days from now, the Supreme Court justices may not be on the ballot, but the stakes could not be higher for the nation's top court. Democrats are pushing to overhaul the Supreme Court with proposals that include packing it with as many as 6 new members and imposing term limits on the justices. At CNN's town hall on Wednesday, Vice President Kamala Harris was asked if she is in favor of expanding the court.
There is no question that the American people increasingly are losing confidence in the Supreme Court. And in large part because of the behavior of certain members of that court and because of certain rulings, including the Dobbs decision and taking away a precedent that had been in place for 50 years, protecting a woman's right to make decisions about her own body. So I do believe that there should be some kind of reform of the court, and we can study what that actually looks like.
Oh, yes, we can study what it actually looks like. You know what Trump should do if he wins? Trump wins on Tuesday night. On Wednesday morning, he should come out in favor of doing this exact same thing. And he say, you know what, now that I've won, I've actually, and if they, especially if they sweep all 3, you want to really set their house, you set their heads to explode. He should come out Wednesday morning and say, you know what, I'm actually for this now. I think since we have all 3, we have the Senate, I have the presidency. I think I'm gonna put up. I think we should expand it to. I think we should expand it to 15 as well. I'm gonna put up 6 nominations here, and then let's see how much they're still. Let's see how much she's still for. Taking a look at how that could be done. I wonder what they would think about that on Wednesday morning. Now, that should be his first thing out of the box, I think. Yeah, you know what? I've been thinking about this, and now that we have the Senate and I have the presidency, yeah, I think I'm for expanding the Supreme Court, and I'm interested in expanding it for the next 4 years. I'm going to put up 6 nominations tomorrow and watch what happens. This nonsense.
Court, and we can study what that actually looks like.
Yes, we've studied it, and we have an answer. We'll give it to you next Wednesday morning.
We're back with our panel. Kyle,
I'm joking
Supreme
about
Court's
that,
always
obviously.
on the ballot in terms
I don't think
of
it's good for either
appointments if
side.
some justice retires or dies. But this is different.
Just to see
this
the
is
meltdown
really
would
a
be worth
proposal. The Democrats are serious about changing the structure of the court. How serious is this in your view politically? Could they get it done?
I think it's very serious. Ron Wyden, Senator from Oregon, has a bill out to make the court into a 15-justice Supreme Court. And I tend to think that even in a Harris administration that would poll so poorly with the general public. That
This is from 9 today.
Correct, that it would be unlikely. But there are all sorts of lesser ideas floating around, including trying to impose term limits on the Supreme Court justices, setting up some kind of ethics situation where they would be investigated, complaints against the justices would be investigated by lower judges, where the justices would take votes on whether to recuse other justices from cases. And I think they are very serious about that. I think that some of that could probably get a majority of Democratic senators right now. And it creates all sorts of problems. I mean, the ethics investigations would turn into basically running impeachment probes, I think, of the justices. There was the 11th Circuit recently this summer shut down ethics complaints against Judge Eileen Cannon, who's...
Yeah, I mean, you get the point. We could go on and on. They'll do anything they can. They would do anything they can if it expands their power, gives them endless power, endless ways to win elections, endless control over the courts. That's all they want. A couple other quick things here on where we are.
Jess, on the national level, then I'll take you down to the battleground states and let you know what we're trying to pick up there. New York Times, dead even. Wall Street Journal's got Trump up 2. CNN, dead even. ABC has Kamala up 2. Our Fox News survey has Trump up 2. Everything is within the margin of error. go forward one time. Okay, here's your 7 battlegrounds now. Arizona, slight lead for Trump. Nevada, slight lead for Trump.
None of the
Wisconsin,
leadership
almost
now.
dead even. Same for Michigan.
None of the leadership
Pennsylvania,
now, I can tell
maybe
you
a
that.
half-point separation. North Carolina, just about a half point here. Down Georgia, Trump leads there in the polling by about 2 points. Super close stuff, I should say here. When you think of these 7 states for a moment, okay, let's go back and look at 2020. Let me go ahead and set this up for you, okay? This is Biden and Trump, 7 battleground states, all right? See what Biden did? Kept the blue wall intact. Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Sun Belt, Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, and the Southeast,
loses all 3
for
of those.
Biden. The only state among those 7 that Trump won in 2020 was here in North Carolina. Then you ask yourself, okay, now in 2024, what is the easiest path for Kamala Harris? What's the easiest path for Donald Trump? Okay, 225, 219, that's what we believe. Her easiest path, even today, after all of this, is picking up that 1 electoral vote in New Hampshire, Nebraska, I should say, and then going Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and that puts her dead even at 270. What about Trump? What's his easiest path come election night? We believe as of today, his easiest path of all is flipping Georgia, holding North Carolina, and winning in Pennsylvania, and that would do it. Mark Penn with me now, Fox News contributor, chairman and CEO of Stagwell Inc. Hello, sir, to you.
Unless you get a surprise in
8 days
Virginia.
out, Mark, what do your numbers tell you?
I see it pretty much as you do. I think the interesting thing about the national polls is virtually every one of those polls, if you go back to the previous poll, were somewhere between 2 and 4 points more for Harris than they are today. And so when you think of elections being about momentum and polls being snapshots trying to identify that momentum, at least since kind of October 10th or so, the momentum has all been in Trump's direction. And second, they seem to have caught up on the mail ballots really considerably. And I think there's about a 2-point pickup there, maybe 1 point pickup from where they were losing votes by counting on people to show up on election day. And I think you have it basically right. You know, in your order, you know, Nevada and Arizona are likely, Georgia and North Carolina, all likely to go for Trump. And then the question is Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. What happens there? Those polls are really close. Trump has done a good job in Pennsylvania with fracking and in Michigan with auto workers. And the question is whether that will pay off or not.
Yeah, I got a number of great clips here. One from Harris, one from Dillon. Let's play the Fetterman clip. This is what he said over the weekend about what he's seeing in his home state of Pennsylvania.
You've said that Trump has a special connection with the people of
100%.
Pennsylvania. Why? What is it that you see that he appeals
stunned.
to in your state?
There's a difference between not understanding, but also
are so
acknowledging that
clueless.
it exists. And anybody spends time driving around and you can see the intensity. It's astonishing.
Maybe come Wednesday or Thursday of next week, we look back to
That
a
guy
clip
gets
like
it
that,
more than
Mark, and
most, I'll
say,
tell you that.
Fetterman was right. And then you got Jen O'Malley Dillon, and she's crunching the numbers just like everybody. She said this over the weekend for the Harris campaign.
We are seeing signs where we look to make sure that we are on track to win a very close race. This is going to be a close race. We've known it the entire fall. We're very focused on that. We've built for these moments right now. And what we are seeing from turnout to our volunteer operation to the enthusiasm growing is exactly where we want to be. And we're really confident about that and confident we're going to win this thing.
Okay, so Michael Watley from the RNC told Dana and me this morning
So
when we
we're
led our
really in
program at
trouble?
9 a.m. He said on Election Day, we're going to be winning in Nevada, we're going to be winning in Arizona, and we're going to be winning in North Carolina. That doesn't get them there, but that's what the two sides are saying. Do you agree with some of what was just spoken there, all of it, or just a bit?
Look, Harris is doing well. People are showing up for her rallies. There is a lot of enthusiasm among Democrats for her. This is not a failed campaign by any means. It's a reasonably successful campaign. But their problem is Trump has been showing this momentum. His personal favorables are at a record. And they're going to take a howitzer at everything Trump for these last days. I think that's clearly what their strategy is, because they have to stop his momentum. They're not where they want to be on some of these polls. They're not where they want to be on some of the mail-in ballots, but they're not out of the game. And this is the strategy they've adopted.
All right.
Yeah, the strategy of hate. That's what they've adopted. So, all right, everybody. I've been trying to watch the comments. I don't think I've missed too much. I would not be surprised if the Dems steal another election. You know, I know that's everybody's fear, but yeah, I think you have to look at the I think you have to look at the kind of the like all of the ingredients that would make that up as opposed to what 2020 looked like. A lot of those ingredients are not there anymore. I just don't think we can go in with our fallback position being fraud. I mean, a lot of what allowed that is not seemingly not there. I did. Again, I thought it was just exactly what I thought it would be. I thought the president's made for that. Eleanor, good morning on YouTube from Florida. Yep, watch it, Amy. It was good. They're already finding fraud here in Michigan. I mean, listen, you know, you're going to get fraud everywhere to the degree that every election that we've ever had has had it. It's just a matter of how much worse. There's always, whether you want to call it fraud, mistakes, things overlooked. But what we saw in 2020 was a different world. So I don't think the makeup to have 2020 happen again is there. Number one, Republicans are not going to get caught flat-footed. The RNCs should not be getting caught flat-footed. No, not really. Because they should know what the number of overseas ballots looks like. And again, if everybody's not sleeping at the wheel, I would think that would be something that should be pretty easy to figure out that, hey, we're expecting we have X amount overseas and we got 10 times the number. Something's not right. I would think that should be pretty easy to catch, but unless I'm not exactly sure how it works, but Jeff, thanks very much. Watching you on Roku. Okay. On what? The YouTube app, probably? Well, thank you either way, whatever you're watching on. I am, Vicky. I am when I can. When the days allow me to, like right now, it's been how many hours? Like 14 hours. Actually, what time is it? 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It's been like 16 hours right now, so I'll probably try to go till 1 o'clock or so, and then I'll be in my 6-hour eat window from 1 to 7, and then I'll be off again. Rav down on Dish. I saw someone said. I'm sure they're working on it if they are. War Room not working on Roku. Oh, let's go check it out. Let's go see. Do.
Hack, second down.
Came right up for me. Came right up for me. Who's hosting today? Oh, this guy. Oh, look at that. It's frozen. Yeah. You can see the thing at the bottom is moving, but obviously the picture is frozen. Oh,
we have a map.
Oh, there it
Look
goes.
at your state. Do you have ballot issues that affect elections that you're going to be voting on? Please go look at that. These ballot issues on elections are really, really important. And the left has been manipulating this process for good. To really.
The show will catch up again with you soon. Please do make sure. Stay tuned. We'll be back in 2 minutes after this short break. Don't go away now. Hack, second down.
Well, this is Getter. The live stream seems to be working. It looks like they did have some kind of hiccup, but
here. Love you all.
I don't know what Roku. I don't know what the feed the Roku gets. Sometimes there's different feeds for different platforms. So if one of them is giving you a problem, sometimes check one of the other ones. So, anyways. Steve Bannon tomorrow. Harry on the highway. On the scene. If I had any inside information to tell you, I would tell you. I don't know exactly what the plan is. I know Harry's involved and will probably be there. Whatever the deal is, but tomorrow should be an interesting day for that man right there. I'm assuming he will want to get to a microphone as quickly as possible. And I suspect he'll have a lot to say. Eleanor, you saw Harry last night? Where did you see Harry last night? At MSG? On TV? Did he say that last night at MSG again with Harry in the building? It's got to be saying it directly to him. It's got to be our Harry. I must have missed it if he said it. I didn't hear it. Did he do the Harry, get your fat ass off the couch at MSG yesterday? Yes, he said Harry. Cat's B said, oh, man. Child of the King, thank you very much. Thank you for all the support as well. Yeah, it's very possible. I could just forget showering, forget dressing, forget haircut, forget anything. Get me to a microphone. I just wouldn't surprise. Nothing would surprise me. Thanks, Becky. I agree with this. For all the talk that Texas, that Cruz is going to lose, maybe close, but I can't see that. Well, the Bill, the word on the street is tomorrow. The word that I've heard is possibly tomorrow. Now, whether it will be 10 a.m. is normal time, I don't know. Because I don't know the minutia of what has to happen as far as leaving. So don't hold me to 10 a.m. But I would certainly think they will aim for that 10 to 12, even if it's by phone or something, depending on what's going on his end. So By the way, and what a great job by, it doesn't need to be said, but it should be said. Great job by everybody holding that down for 3 months. Dave Bratt, fantastic. Obviously, Natalie Winters, the heart and soul, other than Steve, of that whole deal. Everybody involved over there, not only keeping the show fantastic, but all the guest hosts that filled in to keep it rolling. Props to Rav, too, for keeping it right there. They could have easily said, well, you know. So everybody involved, man. Everybody involved stood up, stood behind Steve, had his back. All the guests, hosts, the network. You know, that thing didn't miss a beat. Probably bigger now. Picked up. Certainly it'll be bigger once he's back, but it certainly probably picked up steam over the 3 months. Didn't lose a step, and that's a you know, that's a credit to Natalie and Dave and all the other guest hosts and the network for sticking with the show, obviously, and not giving in to any nonsense that I'm sure they had. You want to keep a show on for a guy who's in jail? I mean, I'm sure they had that. Could have easily, you know, they could easily been doing what people are doing this morning about, ooh, the off-color joke, trying to bend the knee to the whole nonsense. And they never even thought about it. Okay, who's up next? You sit in the chair, let's go. So should be an interesting day tomorrow, for sure. And then it's gonna be an interesting 7 days. Look out. Look out. So we should, I think I said this like 2 times last week and it didn't work out too well, but we should have, with a huge grain of salt, we should have pretty regular shows Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this week, because the Trump stuff is like 6 p.m. I think all 3 days this week. Now, again, that means he has to be on time, but even if he's late, 6:30, he's still done by 8. So I think Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday's events all are in that 6 o'clock hour. So we should be pretty clear by 8 o'clock. Thursday, Friday, we're probably not going to have a show because it looks like the events are smack dab at 8 o'clock on Friday, and I think 7:30 on Thursday. And then Tucker's doing an event Thursday night, I think at 9. So we'll probably be covering both of those. So I would say we're not going to have much show other than just playing traffic cops to these events on Thursday and Friday. We should have pretty much regular shows Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, unless he's really late to something. And the only thing he's really been late to was obviously Michigan with the Joe Rogan thing. So unless he's really late, we should have pretty much a regular show tonight, tomorrow, and Wednesday this week. So, all right, everybody, enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for joining me. Hit the like, subscribe, thumbs up, whatever platform you're on. I appreciate it. Got the new shirt on, by the way, today. This is a good-looking shirt. All these shirts available live from studio6b.com. Got a bunch of new ones. Probably going to wear one tonight on the show as well. So thank you, everybody, for... so Alan says the view is melting down. What time is it? 11. Oh, my God. I can't even imagine. Thanks, everybody. Make sure you head to live from studio6b.com as well and sign up to be a member. It's absolutely free. Just sign up so we have your information so we can always get to you, and you always know where to find us. And that's why you subscribe to all the socials: Rumble, Getter, X, Facebook, YouTube, so you can always find us. All right, I appreciate it. Have a good rest of your morning, good rest of your day. I don't think there's anything we have set to be streaming today, but keep a lookout. If something comes up that we can stream for you, we'll have it here. And then I'll see you tonight, 8 p.m. or close to it. Should be pretty close. live from Studio 6B, Real America's Voice, live from the studio tonight. I'll see you then. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you tonight.